All right, everybody. So exciting. I think everybody that's for the most part, I think we got the bulk of everyone here, and I hope you have goosebumps the way I do because today is gonna be fire. Yep, they're still coming. There's Chaz. All right. So I titled this Buckle Up Your 5 Point Harness. This one's going to be fire because it's going to be fire and not to be cliche. This is going to be a life-changing training for you today. We're going to hear from some legends in this industry. Literally, guys, I hope you have permanent marker and a notebook handy because you're going to want to take notes. We are recording. Um, it, guys, look, pay attention. Your life literally is one decision from being a dream life. Literally, just imagine what your life would look like if 100% of your dreams came true, just all of them, right? And this is where it starts right here today. So, look, we've got Mr. Ray Herron on, who's become just an amazing dear friend of ours. We're so honored to be working with Ray. He has been wildly successful in network marketing. He's been at the tippy top of four companies in a 4 decade full-time network marketing career. He was trained and mentored by Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, just to name a few, right? Bob Proctor. I mean, Ray has been in the room with these guys for countless hours, days, weeks, months, years. He's been there and done that. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the talk, and he's the man. And we're excited to have him with us. He wants to throw out a little message here at the beginning, and then we're going to get this training kicked off here with Cynthia in just a minute, and then we'll have Ray back for some more greatness. So, Ray, can you hear me, my brother? You're muted, I think. Let's unmute you. Let me find you. There you are.
How about, can you hear me now?
That's perfect, bro. All right, Ray.
Somehow, somehow I got muted there. Well, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you. Life is full of irony. This call for me is taking place, or this Zoom is taking place for me in a little town in Oklahoma. The name of the town is Bernieville, Oklahoma. Population, I don't know, maybe 300, something like that. Not far from here, I was born 76 years ago in an old house with a dirt floor. The doctor had to come out of Marietta, Oklahoma, about 10 miles away to help my mother with the delivery. And it's a place that I grew up in my younger years, a lot of my younger years here in this very area, a place that I swore I would never return to. So life is a bit ironic. And I'm here today, but I don't have to stay here too long. Come May, I'm going to make my way north to my home up in my beautiful home in Suttons Bay, Michigan. Cheryl and I got the good fortune of living in three different places around the world, and it's all because of this industry and meeting some great people like Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Zig Ziglar, and spending time with them and teaching me some things. It took us from poverty to fortune, and I really needed it. I spent about half of my life, just under half of my life, dead broke, wanting more out of life, and things just happened for me. The stars seemed to line up. I met the right people, got involved in this industry, and it's just been terrific. And I just want you to know, I don't know where I caught you today. There was a favorite Jim Rohn saying, "Where did I catch you today?" Perhaps some of you can identify with some of the things I'm going to discuss with you later on after Bill and Cynthia's 1, 2, 3 training. But I want to share with you what I think makes all the difference and how what's happened to us can happen for anybody that's on this call today. Really, in reality, it's our behavior and our activity that determines our results in the network marketing industry. And I'm going to spend some time talking about that. I want to talk to you about having a dream. We all got them. Sometimes, we have to reach deep down inside of us to find out what our dream really is. You've got one, I promise you. If you didn't have one, you'd have better things to do this afternoon on a Sunday. I appreciate you being here and always honored that people would spend some time and listen to whatever I have to say. And I want you to know I'm not a polished speaker. Don't claim to be. I'm not, you know, technology is kind of just dragging me in. I'd be more comfortable today standing on the stage with 20,000 people in the audience than I am staring at this little box right here. But I think I have some things that will make a difference for you. I want to share with you later on today exactly the things that I did to make this success happen for us. And yeah, I think if you'll duplicate some of the things we did, it can happen for you here as well, especially since we're involved with such a super company like SuperPatch. Let me spend just a minute talking about Bill and Cynthia Delaney. I've never had the good fortune in all my years. There's really no excuse for me to not do better here than I've done in all of my other four big successes because of what they put together. They're the hardest working people that I've met in this industry. They have got it put together. I've tried to analyze it every way I know how, and believe me, they've got it put together. They've got a 1, 2, 3 system that if we follow it, and I find that most of us don't, we're just missing. You just have to miss just a little bit to not arrive at the results that you're looking for. You know, it only takes a small corner of the cracker to ruin the entire bed that you sleep in. And that's a fact. And it only takes just a few tweaks to not do maybe some of the things they suggest that you do for you to not have the results that you're looking for. By the time this day is done, I hope all of us realize that this system is there for us. It's a 1, 2, 3. You can't lose. The only way we can lose is our behavior and our activity. If we get our behavior and our activity right, we will get people invited to the information. And that's where the key is. If we can invite them, if we do the proper things to get people invited to the Zooms, I mean to tell you, Cynthia delivers a knockout message at least 4 nights a week. The corporate does a great Zoom 2 nights a week. And mine and your job, I mean our job, is to introduce the Super Patch Company to people, get them in front of that information, and I promise you, our share of people will come into our business. So I'm so proud to be associated, Bill, with you and Cynthia, and I think that girl's already ready. I saw her peek her head in that video of yours a time or two, and she won't let us down. I know. Cynthia, I love you. Take it away.
You're amazing, Ray. Thanks so much. I want to share, you guys, you don't hear a lot from me because I think Cynthia is so good at this business that I don't want to take away any potential success for you guys. So a lot of times I'll let Cynthia, you know, take the forefront on these presentations. She just does fire, like Ray was saying. But I do want to take a minute and just kind of share our story a little bit so that you guys can understand how we ended up at network marketing and why this can be a reality for you. Because there was a day in the distant past here where life wasn't so great for Cynthia and I. And let me go all the way back to the beginning. So I grew up in aviation. My father taught me aircraft mechanics. By 15 years old, I was overhauling engines and painting airplanes. And I followed that career path, you guys. I was soaring, what I thought was soaring high. I became the youngest quality control inspector in a commercial airline business by the age of 20. And by 31 years old, I had ascended the ranks in corporate America to what most people would think would be like a dream career in corporate America. And I was the vice president of operations of a $50 million a year commercial airline maintenance facility at the age of 31. And so I thought I had arrived and everything was going to be amazing. But it wasn't the American dream that Cynthia and I thought it was going to be because they, you know, own all of your time. I don't know how many of you have been in an executive management position like that or role. The job goes home with you. It's not like you clock in and clock out. You know, it just travels with you everywhere you go. You have ultimate responsibility. So it became a huge burden. It was very hard, very difficult on us. We had a young son, Dylan, who was, you know, just a baby at the time, and it was brutal. And so at 33, I started my own company after networking with airline executives, banks and leasing companies, executives, launched a company buying and selling commercial jet airline assets. And in 2003, I did an amazing deal. I found Pratt& Whitney, the engine maker, had taken a trade-in of 42 airplanes from Delta Airlines, and they didn't want the fleet of airplanes. So I made it as an incredible deal. I bought 42 airplanes and 118 engines in that package. And before I even closed the deal on those 727s, I had 45 engines leased out to Northwest Airlines. I already had contracts signed for 45 engines. But we were rolling. We thought we were done. We thought we had arrived and life was going to be amazing. And it was. I worked from a cell phone and a laptop, got to be home, went on every single field trip with Cynthia and Dylan, and we were together all day, every day. And I could build that aviation business from wherever I happened to be. And I went from 500 running an aviation company with 570 employees to where I only had one employee, one tech advisor, and that was it. And so life was way, way, way better. And then 2008 and 9 came along, and some of you may remember that time. Subprime housing crisis crashed the banking industries globally, and our aviation customers couldn't borrow money anymore, and our aviation business collapsed. When you have millions of dollars of assets on the ground, and $100 turns into $10, that's going to cause you some severe pain, and it did. Cynthia, stumbles across some people that were making $100,000 a month, discovered it was network marketing. She told me, I trusted you. We almost ended up in a ditch, which is true. We got down to $80 in our bank account when we launched that aviation company. And then we hit it big. But she said, I trusted you. You're going to trust me. We're going to do network marketing. And I thought we had done lost our mind. I just couldn't believe it. She was absolutely 1,000,000% right. And I'll own it. And we jumped in like our life depended on it, because it did. We burned the ships and we went all in, and we got our income to 6 figures a month in network marketing in short order. You guys, we had 125,000 people on our team, and it was an amazing run that we had there. We're doing that same thing here with Super Patch, only at least 10 times bigger, at least maybe 50 or 100 times bigger, you guys. I mean, if you look at what Super Patch represents, every single patch that we have of the 13 patches we're currently marketing, they are all multi-billion-dollar industries on their own individually. And so when you look at it as an entire uh, marketplace, it's just unfathomable. So, guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the center of my universe, my one and only, the love of my life, my best friend, my partner, and she is going to take you through an amazing training, and then we'll hear back from Ray in a little bit. So, thanks for letting me share, guys. Here she comes, Cynthia Delaney. Take it away, baby.
Oh, wow. How do you follow those two? Ray Herron, you are so amazing. It is such an honor. I'm pinching myself right now, knowing that we get to grow something so impactful around the world with someone like yourself. And it's such an honor. We enjoy our time together, getting to know each other. We learn from one another. We've learned a lot from your experience in the industry. And I think what we're doing is pulling together a powerhouse here. There's no doubt the people that are coming together know this industry, love this industry, and love impacting the lives of people around the world. And I think that's the big key. So I want to give a big shout out to my husband as well, my business partner, and also everything in my world, him and my son, that's our family, are the reason that we're in network marketing. I think such a great example to have given our son when he was 13 years old, to see people come together the way they do in network marketing is so incredibly unique, because they're coming together to celebrate each other's lives. They're coming together to help each other reach their goals. They're coming together to help their lives change for the better. They're coming together to give time and choice when there wasn't enough. They're coming together because network marketers are a positive batch of people. In fact, we're a little bit crazy, and I know that, but Steve Jobs says it takes the crazy ones to change the world, and that's exactly what we do. There's a reason that they don't teach network marketing in high school, because I don't know how many other careers people would take up, knowing that you can truly impact the world, health, wellness, financial opportunities like never before in network marketing. If you didn't know, network marketing has created more millionaires than any other industry. And this industry is bigger than the NFL. This industry has so much to give. There's professionals like Ray, and there's so many people of heart and drive. There's a lot of people that are hungry in this industry for change, and it lights the path for other people to be inspired, to build belief. Ray doesn't have the same story and background that Bill and I do. We don't have the same background and story that he does. In fact, my story is even different than Bill's story to a certain extent. But we all come here because we see the potential in a bigger life, a better way, and an exciting and stimulating profession that I'm just going to tell you guys, good or bad, take it the way you want. You never get the same day twice, for sure. And I love it. You know, clocking in at the same time every day, doing the same things. I get it. It can be predictable, it can be a routine. But a lot of times we catch ourselves being uncomfortable in the most comfortable places. Does that make sense? So if you want change, you got to make change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. But today, as we get started, my part, or part of my part in today's training, is to show you that system that's in place for all of you. And let me preface, some of you are going to say, that's too easy. Some of you have it ingrained in your head, the harder you work, the more you get paid. Well, I know I'm not the only one that's going to say it today. You're going to hear it from Ray too. This is a team sport, network marketing. It's one that is more easily achieved when you utilize the mentors, the support system that is ready to wrap their arms around you and do the heavy lifting. You see it on the overview Zooms almost every night of the week. And you see it if you've done a three-way call with the people that are stepping in, stepping away from their family for that 15, 20, or 30 minutes to answer questions from the person that you've put in front of this life-changing company, this financial opportunity, this technology that creates a better quality of life. This is a once in a lifetime. I've never witnessed anything like this in the industry. Bill and I have been very fortunate to work behind the scenes, do a lot of consulting work for about 7 years, and deal in mergers and acquisitions. Bill's done about 100 contracts within the industry. So we know the state of the union. And I know Ray's seen a lot, but for what Bill and I have seen in 16 years, what we've evaluated, what we've been able to be a party to, there is no other company like this. And you hear people say that all the time. It's a line in network marketing. We've got the best. We've got the biggest. We're going to be the hottest. We've got something like no one else. But the evaluating tells the story. When you start comparing the pieces, it becomes very, very clear. So for all of you, as we get started on today's training, I want you to know this. What Bill and I have created it's not the first time we've created a system. We've created many, but what we created here, there's so much passion connected to it, so much heart connected to it, because it's not about Bill and I. And really, Ray can, have conversations that a lot of people can't have too. It's about everybody else. It's about duplication. It's not what sounds great, what works for one time, but what can work every single time if you utilize it. What makes it easier, what takes the heavy lifting off of it. Listen, some of you have 2 jobs, not enough time with your kids. I can tell you right now, I can take every excuse away. If you want this bad enough with this system, you absolutely can plug in and win. So if you've got things that you feel are barriers in your life right now, not enough time, that's exactly why you need to jump in and start building. Some of you are going to build over 2 years and create a residual of 5,000 or 10,000 a month, even 3,000 a month. I say it all the time. How many times can you go to your employer and say, I'd like $1,000 a month raise? If not, and money is holding you back, you have something to plug into that can grow over time to something so substantial that it can change your family's life forever, even if it's just to take some worry off on a weekly basis of how you're going to pay those bills. But some of you are going to run it clear up the flagpole. You're literally going to replace your income. Some of you are going to retire through network marketing revenues and income. Some of you are going to create generational wealth. Did you hear Ray's story? Are you kidding me? Starting out in Oklahoma sounded like modest beginnings, maybe a lot going against him, but now able to live in 3 different locations because of his passion for this industry. If you guys don't have a pen, if you have a pencil in your hand, throw it away, put it aside, grab the pen. You are never going to want to lose the notes that you take today that you get from Ray Herron. So I want to start out today by saying, you guys, Bill and I had every reason to not jump into network marketing. We had every reason for him to go back and get a VP position. It would have been much faster and much more quote unquote secure for the moment. But we saw something that could not only change our life, that really wasn't the focus. The focus was when we were in aviation, we had nothing to give our lifelong friends. They had watched us travel around the world. They had watched us be able to attend everything at Dylan's school, to be able to travel with him, do sports across the United States with him. And they wanted to know what they needed to do to paint their life a picture like that. And I couldn't give them an answer. 20 years of aviation experience, a network. How do I help my friends with that? In network marketing, it's an even playing field. Doesn't matter if you're 18 or if you're 95. Doesn't matter if you have a degree or none. Doesn't matter if you've even ever had success. Yesterday could have been the final straw. You got to do something different. What are you going to do when you're 65? And most people say, I don't know, get another job, start another career, because I can't retire off of what I'm going to get. It's barely enough to live off of. It's definitely not what I'm making right now. And so you find people at a time in their life that they should be enjoying the fruits of their labors, going back into the workforce, and yet again taking a deep breath because they're about to miss more precious time with the people they love most. And they have to put what they want to do in this life before their last days on the shelf yet again, many giving up at that point, saying it's just not going to happen for me. Well, I can say this. I've watched lives be revived by this industry over and over again. I've seen the hope in people's eyes. I've seen dreams come off the shelf, go on to vision boards, and people start checking it off. So many of you may be looking at this as a plan B, a potential exit strategy over time, and that's fine. But some of you are looking at this as your plan A. You're going to keep what you're doing right now as a plan B until you can segue completely to your plan A. And that, or your plan B, sorry. And that's where you can enter this industry and start creating a story like Ray has, like we have. So I'm going to run through really quickly our step-by-step, and then we're going to go straight to Ray, you guys. So that system that Ray was talking about earlier is as simple as it gets. Literally, I've never done anything in my life this simple. When I was a waitress, that was hard. Dealing with the staff in the kitchen was a pain. Low tips, other things that I won't even bring up. That wasn't an easy job. When I was in construction, in the offices and going on bids at 21 years old, that was hard work. When I had my design business, nobody else brought in the income but me. And there was a lot of planning, and there was a lot of clients that I sat with that I didn't get, and some that I did. And it was a up and down and unpredictable. Those were hard scenarios. You're sitting right now on a company that has already proven itself. 60 million year one, over 100 million year two. Sold over 75 million patches, a 95% positive user rating. We have something for pretty much everybody. And our technology is changing lives every single day. You hear it on the testimonials. And then the financial opportunity. Jay has set us up with an omni-channel company like no other. You can immediately start building 2 residual incomes through the co-op marketing program and our network marketing arm and compensation plan. So you're first. The company's proven itself, but the world doesn't know about us yet. We're opening 4 more countries this year. You're on the front side. We're barely getting started in the United States. So listen closely to this system. It's exactly what Bill and I use. And I will venture to guess it's a lot of what Ray uses too, but I'm going to leave that up to him and go straight into slide 1. This is a duplicatable getting started. Your step 1 should have been being invited to a overview Zoom, or maybe you were on a 3-way call that led you to an overview Zoom. What is the importance of that? The importance of that is it takes the heavy lifting off of you, shows a lot of human element, the excitement. It's live. You get the testimonials that create edification. There are many components to people seeing a live overview, including the fact that a lot of people don't know how to have the business conversation, the money talk. In that case, we'll take that heavy lifting off of you. So there is a big picture, and we want to make sure people get the menu of offerings here and get to pick and choose what's best for them and their family. You did. You're here as an associate. So this is the process that you most likely went through. This was the step 1, and will be a step 1 with all of the associates you bring on board. A, choose a kit. B, choose a name for your replicated website, launch it, you're ready for commissions minute 1. C, activate your 2-pack smart chip. D, add a smart chip to run immediately this month for eligibility in the CapEx next month. All right. If somebody wants 2 residual income streams, that's key. So make sure you're following that A, B, C, D of step 1. Step 2, this is what you do next. I love those 6 words. They've literally made Bill and I millions in this industry because it's how I roll it over to edification. Literally, our mentor, I would get him on the phone anytime I could, introduce him, put my phone on mute, never say another thing until he was done. And at that point, I would say, great, you got to meet one of the best in the industry. He's incredible. He's always been right by our side, always does what he says he's going to do. This is the team you're going to be working with. This is the kind of support you're going to get. And this is the duplication. This is all you have to do yourself. So this is what you do next. Let's get your position in the company. See how simple that can be? This is what you do next is the key phrase almost every step. So after somebody becomes an associate, this is what they do next. They get the day 1 launch. So your step 2 for your brand new associate is to text them or text and email, depending on the person, but text is always most immediate. SuperLikeNeverBefore.com/launch. If you haven't been there, if you didn't get it when you became an associate, you missed a critical key step because this is where people can review how to get plugged into the community, how to get edification, videos on our YouTube channel, the Facebook, the testimonials, and so much more, the training schedule for the week on Wednesdays and Sundays and so forth. You got to have it to get plugged in. And there's a 14-minute video on our comp plan that the visuals are amazing and it really simplifies everything. Also, you can get the video that's 28 or 29 minutes from Jay Dollywall talking about our company and our comp plan. It's awesome. It's awesome to hear from Jay. Always awesome to hear from Jay. So once you give somebody that day 1 launch, right after they get their associate's position, then B, you give them a clear step to prepare for success with this launch site. This is where they can prepare for the next step, which is a follow-up within the next 24 hours. I would say to somebody coming in the morning or the afternoon after they get this launch site, review this launch site, get plugged into the WhatsApp, the YouTube, and the Facebook. Look at when we're having trainings, review anything else on here. Everything is of value. And then we'll get back together tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening for a follow-up. Start going over your list. And at that point, I would ask them on their list who the first 5 or 10 people are. And that's another training, but that's where we start creating the exposure, the invites, the attention that we're all creating to get the information about this company. Those individuals on their list are the first ones that they're going to invite. Number 3, set a professional follow-up. That's what I'm referring to with your associate. A, because it's important to start building and inviting within 24 hours. List building ideas or something involved in that meeting. B, financial goals for the first year should always be a part of that meeting. Set those goals right out of the gate. Doesn't mean that they can't change, but setting those goals is super important. Don't leave your financial future to chance. If somebody says, I don't know what I want to make in the first year, what I want my residual to be at in the first year or 6 months, then ask them what their goals are. It's usually time, choice in some manner or fashion, which always goes back to a money amount. Maybe it's getting rid of their overtime necessity. Maybe it's getting a couple of bills paid off early. Maybe it's an extra $1,000 a month. You can tally out what their financial goals are with them fairly easily. Number 4, the invite examples to build strong are important. Building a marketing team looks different than acquiring customers. You're going to acquire a lot of customers. You're going to change a lot of lives. And if somebody after a overview Zoom chooses to become a customer, celebrate that. That's revenue for your business, but it's life-changing for them. This technology is definitely bringing better quality of life to everybody, no matter what age. And we're talking about performance. We're talking about productivity as much as we are quality of life and ability to sustain. So the invites we recommend are the overview invites. A lot of people starting out in network marketing find it a lot easier to talk about the product, in this case, the technology. But if any of you have been in insurance, you know they start with the biggest packages first because it gives a big bird's eye view of what there is to offer. Then it can be customized and limited if that's not what they're looking for. But they don't start at the bottom and start building up. If you start with a product and it looks like you're trying to sell somebody, then they're going to think, I've already got a job. I don't need another one. And they very well won't consider becoming an associate with that kind of introduction, but very well a customer. If you want to build a substantial network marketing business that goes global or across the United States, creates an additional $5,000, $10,000 a month or more for you, then you want to give the big picture because there's a lot of people looking for a financial opportunity. A lot. They were praying about it last night. Most people won't talk about their finances, but they'll talk about their aches, pains, their needs in the gym or at work. And that's a great lead in, but don't leave anything on the table. Let them get the bird's eye view and pick and choose what's best for them. The way to do that is through two invites like this. The bottom one is Jay's, the top one is mine. Hey, Ray, you're not going to believe who I met today. Friends of mine know this engineer, and he used to be a software engineer, brilliant, genius. He has engineered the next biggest technology of our lifetime. It's going to be $1 billion company, and Bill and I are one of the first to get into the profit sharing pool. This is going to be probably the biggest financial windfall of our life. You can potentially jump into and benefit. Now, they're opening up a company Zoom tonight for an elite group of VIP seats. It's a quick 30 minutes. Let's jump on the phone right after. I'm going to send you the link. I'll confirm with you about 10 minutes before. I'm super excited for you. Jay's invite is, I saw something. I met some people. If you want to make money, like lots, we need to talk. Call me. Invite them to a super Zoom. That's it. You guys, many times we're making it too complicated on ourselves. Number 5, the super simple 1, 2, 3 is just what I lined out for you. Invite to the next scheduled live super Zoom. Step 2, do a three-way call ASAP right after the super Zoom. Share your replicated link. Get someone like Ray, Bill, or I, somebody that is third party for you on the phone with them to welcome them or to get a couple of questions answered and invite them to get their position in the company. Step 3, always plug in, be consistent, lead by example, never miss an event. Super Zooms and meetings are events, and teach your team to never miss an event. If you remove a log from a fire and it goes out, but you set it even 10 inches away, it doesn't rekindle. You've got to have that log in the fire. The fire is the community. The fire is the excitement. The fire is the testimonies. The fire is the hopes and dreams alive for everybody here at the Super Patch Company. The invitation to impact the world for the better and to financially win, potentially with generational wealth in a way that you've never been invited to before. So it doesn't matter what works for you. It only matters what duplicates, and we're giving you that super simple system. So to wrap up how to build an income fast, we have this 90-day income example duplicate of 3 by 3. This is important that you're brand new associates see this. 90 days to earn big is a big mindset. So stop with the stinking thinking and realize with a big opportunity, a lot of times people think you get what you pay for. If you offer them a position at $40, they may not see the value and be gone a year from now. Give them the opportunity to be set for success. The Omni Pack and the Momentum Pack are the ways to do that. Again, if you start there and you need to come down, it's one thing, but start by being professional, being convicted, being excited, and giving them what they need to succeed. You can see the 90 days to earn big with the Omni Pack duplication 3x3 month one. You bring in three that get three. That's $2,376 with the Omni Pack duplication. Month two, $3,262.40. Month three, $7,303.20. First 60-day earnings, $5,638. First 90-day earnings, $12,941.60. Would that make a difference to you and your family? How many people do you know would love to scratch off a lottery ticket and win that amount? It would make a huge difference. Well, now it's better than the lottery ticket. That's one and done. You cash that in, you spend it, it's gone. Now you can build something that comes in every single month, month after month. The Momentum Pack duplication, month one, $3,610.65. Month two, $5,005.06. Month three, $9,494.98. First 60-day earnings, $8,615.71. First 90-day earnings, $18,110.69. So that's off of the model of sponsoring three each month and helping them sponsor three, duplicating the 3x3. Number 7, and we're wrapping it up. Get your pens, get ready for Ray. Number 7 is plug in, and you will be richly blessed. A, lead by example. Approach your super patch business professionally, and you're going to yield a residual that gives you precious time and choice. People know that Bill and I are crazy, professional, career network marketers, and I'm so honored and proud of it. And people can feel that. They see how we live. They see how we seem happy a lot of the time. They wonder what we do. And people on the outside, honestly, that don't know what we do probably think we're doing something, well, I would just say maybe illegal in the background because we have so much time and we have the means. But B, connecting with the community is the absolute, because you're going to be surrounded by people that are going to celebrate your wins. Visionaries, entrepreneurs, people that want more for their life and want to be able to give it to other people. Make it to the Zooms, the trainings twice a week, events. You're going to be informed. You're going to be excited. You're going to be updated. There's always something new happening here at Super Patch. So every couple of days, you'll get something new. Just stay plugged in and you'll be one of the first to hear about it. It keeps you motivated. All of us have days. You're going to have those days with or without network marketing and this kind of residual income. You're going to have those days outside of it with your job, with your family, with life. It's life. It's just with a residual income, life becomes a little bit easier. So stay excited and you'll be successful because it becomes contagious when people see that you're happy. They want to know what you're doing. When they see that you're excited, they want to know what you're doing. When they see that you're successful, they want to know what you're doing. So don't let it be a mystery. It's a perfect segue to invite them to get in front of this life-changing information. Great things come to those who make it happen, you guys. No question about it. It doesn't mean it's not going to take some effort, but you can make the amount of effort a lot easier on yourself by plugging into the system, reaching out, and asking for the support. Three-way calls and the company overviews will get you where you want to be with this company. The rest will take care of itself. People will decide if they want to be a part of your marketing team, a part of your sales force, or a part of your customer base. All of it is revenues. With all of it, you're successful. It's a matter of just getting the information in front of people, and they can make the choices themselves. So no excuses. I hope I just took that away from you. I can show you how to make $1 million a year with 1 hour a day, but you have to be so precise and you have to be so focused. But I've done it before. We can do it again. If you have 3 jobs, 7 adopted kids, not enough time on your hands, then that's a story of a good friend of mine that has made a lot happen in this industry, has touched a lot of lives, and has made an income with network marketing as a profession. And you can too. So if you're meeting some people, or if you've said this, it's just not working for me, you got to ask yourself why. And more times than not, it's not that it's not working. You're not working. And sometimes people say, it's the same as it was before. I've been in several network marketing companies. It just doesn't work for me. No, you're the same as before. And that's where I want you to really listen to a man of great experience, a legend in this industry with great heart and great success, is going to be able to drive home exactly that mindset that can switch it up for you completely. Because, like I said at the beginning, you have to change to get change. Ray Herron is absolutely one of the best in the industry. His name precedes him. He's too humble. He's not going to say it, but everybody we've talked to in the industry, when they hear his name, if they know him, there's nothing but positive to be said. He's professional. His heart is absolutely for all of you to win. And I can't wait for all of you to hear what Ray has to share, what he's going to teach all of you today. It is going to be priceless. So, in that being said, everybody, it's time. Grab your pen. Get ready. Ray Herron, floor is all yours.
Thank you, Cynthia. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Once again, everybody, I'm honored that you'd spend some of your Sunday afternoon with me. I'll try to make your time worthwhile. Cynthia, you're a real pro, you and Bill, for sure. I said that earlier in the call. And folks, look, they lay out the information, honestly. I mean, they lay it out as well as it can be laid out, and they do about minimum 4 Zooms a week. As I said earlier, the corporate does a couple of weeks. So they're about 6 nights a week. You and I can plug people into these Zooms. And it's been my experience. If I can get them to, especially Bill and Cynthia's Zoom, corporate Zooms too, they're all good. If I can get them there, I got about an 80% chance of getting them in my business. And I like those odds. I really do. And, you know, we all got fragile egos. Okay. If some of the people we invite to the Zoom don't get in, we don't have to take it personally. We can just blame it on Cynthia, right? She just didn't convince them. People, believe me, when they get this information, most want to get involved. Maybe they don't want to get involved to the level that we would want them to right away, but they want to experience this technology and they want to become an associate. So you and I got to get pretty good at inviting people to these Zooms. And I'm going to share with you before the end of this today, a good friend of mine and my business associate, just a wonderful friend, extremely successful. And hopefully we'll all hear from him in the future. Mike McCarthy and Betty Quattlebaum up in Denver, Colorado, extremely successful network marketers. And he reminded me yesterday and asked if I would talk about what I call the magical boxes. And I was already thinking about doing that, but Mike just confirmed to me that it's worth sharing with you. If you got an activity problem and a behavior problem, I'm going to solve it for you before the end of this call today. I'm going to give you a little system that I promise you, if you follow it, you can't lose. You're going to win. I want to start this story with a little story, I guess. My story with a little story. My first introduction to Zig Ziglar, famous man. You know, all the famous people I know, we talked about Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. They were all mentors of mine, primarily Jim Rohn, but spent time with all these gentlemen. And I was invited to a taping that Zig Ziglar was doing in Dallas, Texas, about 40 years ago. He had an office there, and he would do his tapes, and he sold his tapes around the world. And yeah, most of you know who Zig Ziglar is. Well, I walked into the back, and the taping had started, and I just kind of sheepishly jumped in the back seat in the back of the auditorium there and sat down. And I heard Zig Ziglar say, "Young man." And after a minute or two repeating that, I knew he was talking to me, and I pointed at me, and he said, "Yes, you." And he said, "Stand up," and I stood up. He said, "Did you not realize that there are front row seats available in life?" And I said, "Well, I guess not." He goes, "Well, get up here on the front row." He brought me all the way up. I was so embarrassed. I'm sure my face was bright red. Back in those days, I didn't have any success. And I told you a little bit about how I grew up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But gosh, I couldn't look people in the eye. Had no self-esteem whatsoever. My self-image was not good. But that was my first introduction to Jim Rohn, and I've lived life on the front row. And what he said was absolutely true. The front row seat is available to all of us, and we can accomplish our dreams and our goals if they have to do with finances here at this company. I get accused sometimes of being money motivated, and I tell people, no, I'm poverty motivated. I've had all the poverty that I want. Half of my life was spent in poverty, and I probably had more embarrassing moments because of the lack of money than I care to recall. And I found myself, as a young man, not real young, but as a young man, probably late 30s, mid to late 30s. I had a wonderful wife, Cheryl, which I still have, thank God. Married 42 years now. We had 4 beautiful children. Actually, one of our children was on the way at that time. I was dead broke, behind in everything, not really knowing what I was going to do, but I always had this dream, this desire as a small boy. I always felt like somehow I was going to find something in life that would change my life and let me do the things I wanted. I believe money is probably the least of all values. But if you don't have enough of it, and you have people that you love and you care about, and that's all you can think about 24 hours a day. I mean, all you think about is the lack. There's just not enough money to pay the bills. How am I going to buy the groceries? How am I going to pay the light bill? How am I going to pay the car payment? Those are the things that, the lack of money it'll psychologically damage you. And I have no doubt that I'm still psychologically damaged, but I did overcome all of that, and this industry helped me to do it. Tell an interesting story. I do have a fourth place that I do live in sometimes. It's a beautiful old historic lodge up in the northern Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's 11 bedrooms, 6 bath place. And I bought it for the sole purpose probably close to 20 years ago now, for bringing distributors there so we could house them, feed them, get to know them, love on them for a few days, and teach them what we knew. And one day I was telling this very story. Life is so interesting. Not only is there irony in life, there's just synchronicity, I think. I get a call from my younger brother, who's just 2 years younger than I am, living in Texas. And I had a big training going on that weekend, and I had some people in the training room probably listening to Jim Rohn at the time. So I took a call from my younger brother. David is his name. And David was calling me from a particular place in a little town in Ingram, Texas. Outside of probably the biggest city close there is Kerrville, Texas. We had moved there when we were younger from Oklahoma. My dad was in the aircraft industry, and he worked for a company called Mooney Aircraft. I'm quite sure Bill Delaney will be familiar with Mooney Aircraft. They may still be there today. I don't know. my dad was working there. There were 6 of us kids, and like I said, we just had a tough time. And my brother told me this story. He said, you'd never believe where I'm at. And I said, well, where are you? He took a little motorcycle ride from Fort Worth, Texas, down to Ingram, Texas. He said, I'm sitting on this very rock. It's a big old rock. I remember it well. I'm sitting on this big rock where you and I used to have lunch when we were kids growing up. It was just off the playground there at this elementary school. I think I was in the 5th grade. My brother was in the 3rd. We were so poor we couldn't have separate lunches. My mom just put our lunches together, and we had lunch at the same time. And our lunch didn't look like other kids' lunches. I mean, it usually was probably some leftover biscuits. Oftentimes, I remember well, that's what it was. Leftover biscuits from breakfast. That was our lunch. So, we took a bit of ridicule. Kids can be cruel, and people were always peculiar about our lunch. And so we elected just at lunchtime to go out in this little schoolyard in the little clump of trees where the big rock was. We would have our lunch there. And my brother reminded me, this story almost makes me want to cry. My brother reminded me that he said, you remember we had lunch on that big rock every day during the week? I said, yeah, I remember, brother, I do. He said, you always talked about one of these days you were going to get rich and you weren't going to live that way. So I had a dream as a small boy that if I could find something that would make a difference. And I'm not sure why I'm sharing that story, but I think everybody does have a dream. And maybe many of you are probably okay in life and you're not as financially challenged as I was back in those days growing up. But I got to tell you, this is the great equalizer, this thing called network marketing. It didn't care that I had a 10th grade education. It didn't care that I had a bad self-image, had no confidence of any kind. It didn't care. It didn't matter. I could make as much money in this industry as somebody with 15 degrees. And I learned that early on. I got invited to a meeting in Dallas, Texas. I had some interest in a product. I had overheard a guy sharing with some other people. And he invited me several times to a business opportunity meeting. I remember it was in Dallas at one of the nicer hotels. And eventually I did go. I took a friend with me. I've told this story before, and I'll keep it short. But I met some interesting people at that meeting, and people that were I was using their product at the time. It was a potassium mineral supplement, came in a white bottle with orange letters. It looked like motor oil and it tasted worse. But it was a potassium mineral supplement, and it gave me energy. I felt better. My mom, I got her some product. She felt better. So I had some belief in the product, okay? So that's where things start. Have a little belief in our technology at Super Patch. Starts there. And so I went to this meeting and met some really nice people, some of them making, a few $1,000s a month. But I got to tell you, 40 years ago, a few $1,000s a month is a lot of money. And so I was impressed. But I was especially impressed with one young man there. I think he was 23 years old at the time. His income the month before was like $43,000 or $44,000 for a month. He was a bellman in a Phoenix hotel prior to getting involved in that company. Now, I did not know this at the time. His dad was a major network marketer in this industry. And his dad obviously helped him build a business, but it didn't matter to me. There was a young kid, 23. I'm nearly twice as old as he is. He's making $43,000 a month, and I can't pay my bills. So I get the idea of how this works, and I don't know where all this comes from to this very day. I really don't, but I credit people like Jim Rohn helping me. And so I got impressed. I knew the product worked. People were making money. They were fun to be around, and I thought, if they can do this, I can do this too. So I borrowed the money. I didn't have any money. I borrowed the money from a friend to get involved with that company and bought a tremendous amount of this product, this liquid product. And jokingly, but I'm serious when I tell the story, I had so much product in the back of my old Oldsmobile at that time. There was so much weight in the back of it. When I pulled in the yard about 11 o'clock that night, the lights were shining up in the trees. That's how much product I had in the car. But I needed to do this more than anything. My back was against the wall. So I gave it everything I had, and I thought, look, who knows where it comes from, okay? Jim Rohn had taught me some things, but I had decided, well, how did this work? I went to a meeting in Dallas, Texas. The company had a beautiful little 15-minute, well, I guess those are their videos. They were, the big plug-in cassettes or VHS, whatever you call them, VHS tapes, I guess. And they showed the 15-minute video. It's not any different than plugging people into a super Zoom like the Delaney's do. I let that information do the work for me. And I went directly the next day to a little place. It's called the Quality Inn Motel in Denton, Texas. I lived in a little town called Pilot Point, Texas at that time. And I went there and negotiated a weekly rental for their conference room, which would hold about 50 people. And I believe they were charging me $50 for the meeting room. And so I signed a contract with them, like a 3-month contract, that I would rent the room it was either a Tuesday or Thursday night. It's been so long I don't recall now. And signed that contract with them. And at the same time, I had already met Jim Rohn like a couple of days prior. Had a good friend of mine that was marketing Jim Rohn seminars around the world. He lived in the Dallas area, and he asked me if I wanted to meet Jim Rohn. I didn't know who Jim Rohn was, and I said, sure. So he took me to meet Jim Rohn and spent some time with Jim Rohn. And he will say this if you get to listen to some of the tools that he has out there that are available to you. He said to me, he wanted to know my story, and I kind of was telling the same story to him that I'm telling you. He said, well, Ray said, you can't use the past as a club. He said, you got to use it as a teacher. He said, you can do or have anything that you want in this industry if you get past some things, learn some things. He said, the world is an oyster. And he taught me this concept. He said, if you find the right, a lot of people don't know this. You're all familiar with a big company called Herbalife. Herbalife would not probably exist today if it wasn't for Jim Rohn. He was their #1 speaker, traveled around the world, worked with their distributors, taught them things like activity and behavior and the things he taught me. He said, Ray, if you find the right network marketing company at the right time, if you built your business for 90 days, as if your life was hanging in the balance, he said it could set you up financially for the rest of your life. I thought, wow, that's an interesting concept, right? I didn't have to pretend that my life was hanging in the balance. It was. I'd stand on my head for 90 days if I needed to back in those days to make things happen. So back to my story with the Quality Inn Motel. Got the room one night a week for $50, and I started inviting everyone I knew. In the first meeting I think I had 7 people there, and one lady came and brought 3 of her kids, and I counted them as well. But the lady did get in my business, and the next week, maybe 12, 13 people showed up, a couple more got in. Just amazing. It was amazing. I've showed the little 15-minute, I'll call it a Zoom. It was a VHS tape at the time. And let them tell the story. I told them I'd found this great opportunity. It was giving me great results. And I'm going to make a lot of money. If you join with me, you can too. And so they started joining. In a matter of about 7 weeks, it was standing room only in this room. Now, I don't know where all that came from. If I hadn't met Jim Rohn, I don't think for me it would have happened. We all need self-development. I promise you need it. You'll be a rare exception if you don't. We have to spend more time working on ourselves than we do working on our business or anything else. So probably one of the best things that I can do for any of you listening to my voice today is to introduce you to my mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn. His name is spelled R-O-H-N. You can find something that I would highly recommend for every one of you. Jim Rohn, ROHN.com, JimRohn.com. I'm not a commissioned agent for Jim Rohn, and he's with the Lord now, but he left a phenomenal library. And you can get an MP3. Now, this will tell you how old I am. I don't know what an MP3 is. I'm sure Bill and Cynthia could tell you what it is, but the younger crowd, they all know what an MP3 is. You can get that for it's called the Challenge to Succeed. For $39.99. You can get probably the best self-development program that exists anywhere in the entire world. And trust me, you'll enjoy it. You'll learn from it immensely. It made all the difference for me. It did take me from poverty to fortune, without a doubt. So get yourself, go to JimRohn.com and order the MP3 of called The Challenge to Succeed. I first received that in the form of audio cassettes way back in the day. It came out about the mid-'80s, and it was called The Challenge to Succeed in the '90s. It became probably the #1 bestseller of all his materials, and he's got a lot of stuff. You know, he's got a great website. Don't get lost in everything. Just order Challenge to Succeed. That's all you need. $39.99. You'll carry the best coach with you wherever you are, anywhere in the world. They'll download it immediately to your computer or your cell phone, and you will always have what I believe the best coach, your mentor now. So anyway, having said that, also met Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor taught me, you know, he always had a funny saying, but it caught my ear when I heard it. He said, you know, money don't have ears. But he said, if you call it, it will come. I was reaching out and calling for money in those days because I really needed for things to happen. Bob Proctor also taught me this. He said, find out what you really want. Write it on a 3x5 card. Just write it, make it brief, and carry it around and read it with you. Read it every day. Carry the card with you, read it every day, several times a day. So I didn't know any better. I wrote on this card that in this new business, by the way, ironically enough, it was a Canadian company out of Montreal called Mattol Botanical. The product was KM. I wrote on this card that I would be earning $5,000 a month in my 3rd month in that industry, in that business, this new business, the new network marketing business that I knew nothing about. And so I read that card every day. And during that 90 days, I literally talked to everybody I could. And I promise you, you've heard other people say this, but it's true. More said no than said yes. But you don't need too many. I'll show you before the end of this call with about 3 good people, you can become financially independent at the Super Patch Company. I literally talked to everybody I could for 90 days. I was inviting them to my weekly meetings. I was sharing my product with them, getting the information in front of them, loaning them my 15-minute videotape for them to watch at home and following up with them the next. It was the activity that produced these results for me. I'll never forget it as long as I live. My 3rd month royalty override check was $5,310 and I believe 69 cents. And that was back in the day when they did mail you checks. They don't do that anymore, but it was amazing to me. I mean, I just stood there and I probably looked at that check for a half an hour. I got to tell you, 40 years ago, a $5,000 monthly check was a lot of money. Maybe probably not 40 years old today, but I promise you, back then it was an awful lot of money. I had the belief level then that this does work, and what makes the difference is minding your attitude, our behavior, and our activity. Activity is the thing that makes the difference, but you got to get your behavior right. And your behavior is nothing more than, working more on yourself than anything else and saying, I want this, I want to make this happen. And I want to share a couple of things with you that I made a couple of notes here. The how to always develops when the want to is there. So you and I have to add more weight to our want to than anything else. We have to want to do this. And I can tell you that the lifestyle that it can deliver for you ought to make you want it for sure. I'm not, like I said, I'm poverty motivated. I'm not money motivated, but I will tell you, whatever your dreams of financial independence here, I don't care what it is. If it's $5,000 a month added to what you already have, that's great. Can you make $100,000 a month? You surely can. You absolutely can. Is it going to be dropped in your lap? Nope. Nobody's going to drop it. But you can make it happen with your behavior and your activity. And self-development is where it all comes from. You got to believe that you can. You got to put the time in. And once again, hey, order the Jim Rohn. Nobody says it better. Nobody does a Zoom better than Cynthia. My mentor, Jim Rohn, taught me this. He said, look, if it's been said well, just borrow it. Why would you stay up all night long trying to figure out a better way to say it? So if it's been said well, and it happens 6 nights a week, just plug people into where it's said well. Get them in front of the information And if your numbers are as good as mine, 80% of them get in your business, you're on your way to financial independence without a doubt. I want to spend a little bit of time here and then we'll wrap this up. My buddy Mike McCarthy, thank you for reminding me of my magical boxes. I don't have a picture of these. I've got some beautiful ones in my lodge that I described to you up north, a place where we spent so many years bringing distributors together and spending some wonderful time with them. That's the best part about this industry too. You'll have thousands of friends before you know it all over the world. These little magical boxes, mine are made out of mahogany. A good friend of mine, a good distributor friend of mine, I talked about them for so long, and mine were the old plastic ones, which I'm going to suggest that you get. And he made me some beautiful, he's a woodworker and a real craftsman, made me these beautiful ones made out of mahogany, and they're in my lodge up north, or I'd show them to you. But picture in your mind, you can get these at Office Max, you probably get them at Walmart, probably get them at Target. Some people would, you'll see them maybe in your grandma's kitchen sitting on the counter. It's these little vinyl plastic recipe boxes, like a 3x5, okay? I suggest you get either 3x5, 5x7, whatever you're comfortable doing. Buy you a couple of these real inexpensive plastic boxes, where they got the lid, you can open them up, and I want you to go to Office Max and buy either 3x5 or 5x7 cards, whichever ones you want to work with. You can get more information on the 5x7. But I want you to buy some index tabs, numbers 1 through 31. And I want you to buy some alphabetical tabs, A through Z, and tab each one of these. You can spend a couple hours putting this together, but it's so well worth it. You just won't believe the difference it'll make in your activity. And I know, and you'll know, that your activity and your behavior is what causes this to happen for you. Get yourself a couple of boxes. You'll have a little fun making them. I promise you will. And have them in whatever you call your office. It could be a little small corner in your bedroom, wherever. I want you to be able to walk past these every day. If you've committed that you want to build a business here at Super Patch, then you're going to know psychologically what to do. You see, we don't fail in life because we don't know what to do. We fail when we refuse to do the very things that we already know that we need to do. What do we need to do at Super Patch or any other networking business? We're just looking for people to talk to. That's all. We want to get them in front of information. And I'm going to give you a little system here it's so elementary. It's so simple. It's stark, actually. Put these little boxes in and make yourself build. Get you some cards. Get the cards. Get you a stack of cards, 3x5, 5x7, whatever your preference is, and put you the little index tab A through Z on one, and the numbers 1 through 31 on the other. These are two separate boxes. I hope you got a picture of this. And now, in the alphabetical file, look, Ecclesiastes says it pretty well. There's nothing new under the sun, And in network marketing, we got to have a list of names. They say that the average person has 800 people that they know by first name in their telephone. I believe that's probably true. We all know a lot of people. I want you to make a list of everybody that you know. Make the list as big as you can. These are people, you're never going to get to all those people. I'm going to tell you that. There's not enough, the Lord isn't going to give you enough time to talk to all of them. You're going to end up getting your 3 to 6 or 7 serious people, and you're going to spend the rest of your life working down through those organizations. But make your list very long. If you only put 3 people on your list and call the first 2 and they say no, you could go into panic mode. I don't want you to do that. Have a long list. You got a long list, 3 or 4 say no, well, that's okay. You got 150 or 200 more you can call. So you won't go into panic mode. In this other one, and take all your prospects. Once you've made the list, I want you to put their phone number, put all their email, all the information that you have on them this is your prospect file in the A through Z. Fill out a card for each and every one of them and file them away, A through Z. And then you've got your index tabs numbered 1 through 31. I call it your suspense file. And what you're going to do is start the big. We're looking for people to talk to, right? People we put on a list. We're going to call them up. We're going to tell them we've discovered something that's so unique. The technology is nothing like it in the world, and you thought of them, and you want to get them involved, and you want to invite them to get some information. And if you will do this properly, if you will make enough phone calls, activity, if you make enough phone calls and start inviting people and start, you say you pull out Bobby Bonds out of your prospect file, and you talk to Bobby, say, Bobby, tomorrow night or tonight, whatever, there's a Zoom presentation on this opportunity. Can I count on you to come? And let's say, what is today? Today's the 10th, I think, of the month. I think 10th or 11th, one of those, and 11th, I think. And say it's going to happen tomorrow night, right? Say, would you be available tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock Eastern time? There's a 30-minute Zoom overview of this opportunity. Could you be available to be at that? Can I count on you? Bobby says, sure. Okay, tomorrow's the 12th. I'm just going to, and I'll say to Bobby, though, do you mind if I give you about a 20-minute heads up before it starts? Can I give you a reminder, a text reminder? Sure, that'd be fine. Great. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to take that file, that card, and I'm going to drop it in behind number 12. And tomorrow, hopefully I've done this several times, and tomorrow on the 12th, I'm not sitting there with wringing my hands, wondering who am I going to call today? Who am I going to invite to the Zoom? Your goal is to fill that 1 through 31 up with activity every single day. And the first thing you do with your cup of coffee or orange juice, whatever it is in the morning, is start. Tomorrow will be the 12th in this example. You simply pull them out of that little box, and you all of a sudden you've got 7 follow-ups to do that day. Things you've committed to do, people you've invited to the Zoom that night, and the reminders and all. I'm telling you, you won't believe that's what I did in the very beginning. It's exactly what I did to build that $5,000 monthly income in my first 90 days. I'm not sure who taught me that. Somebody did somewhere. I'm sure. I've been doing it so long, I thought I was the author of it, but I'm sure I stole it from somebody. It's great. It's great stuff. It's just those little things that make all the difference. But honestly, just deciding that you want to do this, make a quality decision that this is for me. If not me, then who, right? You deserve to be just as successful as Bill and Cynthia. I deserve to be just as successful as Bill and Cynthia, but we're going to have to work hard to catch up with them to be as successful as they are. They've put together a tremendous program here. There's so much support. And honestly, we just have to plug in. We just have to plug in. And, all advertising in the world is sold cost per thousand. But I don't care if it's billboard, I don't care if it's radio, television, or whatever. That's how they determine, if we want to advertise, how many thousands of people are going to see the message where we're going to advertise. That's just how it works. And the same is true here. So people say success is a numbers game. They know what they're talking about. It's a numbers game here too. Those of us that get really good at inviting people to these Zooms, and we make ourselves accountable, and we got our little follow-up system. If we'll do this, I promise you, if you'll commit to this for 90 days and don't let up, you'll be well on your way to being successful here at Super Patch. All you youngsters on this call, I know what you're thinking. Well, I can do it. I don't need those boxes. Heck, I can put this on my phone. I can put this on my computer. Yes, you can. You surely can. And you're tech savvy, and I know you know how to do that. But let me tell you, psychologically, there's a big difference when you walk every day of your life past those 2 little boxes. Then you got to have one of those don't kid yourself days anymore. If you don't put the activity into this business and you've told yourself you want to be very successful, guess what? You're not being honest with yourself. Those things they make you accountable. They just do. And they'll work on that thing called procrastination. Mr. Jim Rohn taught me that, he said, all of us have procrastination. He said, we're never going to completely lick procrastination. We all have it. He said, here's the key. You drive it in one little small corner of the house, and that way we get to live in the rest of it. So That's kind of how I live my life. I know that procrastination is always, always nipping at me, and I just have to drive it in a small corner and get busy doing the things that I promised myself that I would do. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for the people that you love. It's a great opportunity, a great big opportunity. No matter what Ray Herron ends up doing with this, I mean, I think I'm going to be wildly successful with it, given time. But no matter what I do, this one is a giant. Just know before you leave this call today, this one is a giant. And you've got the opportunity to be wildly successful financially. Just give us a couple of years. That's all we ask, just a couple of years. And build your business in 90-day spurts and make yourself accountable. Reach out to everybody you know. Before you know it, you're going to be bragging about the income that you're getting. And believe me, when your income starts growing really big, your friends, they will knock your door down to get in your business. Here's one little thing I'll leave you with. If we can get good at this right here, we'll all be very successful here. Certainly you'll sponsor more than 3 people. If you're highly motivated, you will. But the key is, you can maximize this company's compensation plan with 3 people. If you get 3 associates on SmartShip, that's the key. 3 associates on SmartShip. First of all, you all know, if you don't know, let me tell you, it's a real bonus. You get 3 people, you're on SmartShip, and you got 3 people on SmartShip. Every month you get 2 free packages of whatever your choice is. That's a good little bonus. It's called the Super Builder bonus. If you get 3 people on SmartShip and all of you are participating in the CapEx program, that means we all get 4 tokens every month. If you do that, and you get 3 people to do that, and you have a personal relationship with 3 levels of people. That's what you want to do. Can you have a personal relationship with 3 levels of people? You can indeed. It's going to take a little bit of your time, but I promise you, it's fun, it's exciting, and you'll have it's 3, 9, 27, right? You're going to have a personal relationship with about 40 people. And you're going to become great friends, and it's going to be a duplicating model. People say, what do you do? Well, we get at least 3 on SmartShip. That way we get our 2 free packs. We get involved in the CapEx program, which adds business to our business. And that's just what we duplicate over and over and over again. You'll drive that so deep, and the company pays tremendous depth, you'll be wildly successful. You'll have more than 3 people personally sponsored, but you're looking for 3 that will engage in this particular behavior. Get real personal with it. Start reaching down in your organization 2 and 3 levels deep and meet the people there. Talk to them. Let them know you're available to help them any way you can. Cynthia, I've gone on probably too long. And Bill, I appreciate you both more than you know. And everybody listening in, thank you so very much for spending some time listening to me. I know that I ramble on sometimes, but this is an industry that's been very good for me. And I've got a clear picture of what it can be for you as well, if you're willing to give it all you got. And that's the key. Just give it everything you have. Give it for a year or 2, and I promise you, your financial worries will be behind you if you have any. Thanks, Cynthia.
Hey, Ray. Wow. I hope everybody wore their permanent markers out, writing that down. There was hopes and dreams alive in that message. Ray, we're not going to quite let you off the hook that easy. I know a lot of people still want to hear from you. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So you've heard the saying or the question before, when is the best time to plant an oak tree 50 years ago? And when's the second best time to plant an oak tree?
Yeah, I have.
Yep, today, right? So in the spirit of the best time to plant an oak tree was 50 years ago, and the second best time is today, I think it's appropriate. We're at the second best time, which is today. We've got a Super Zoom coming up here in 3.5 hours, basically. And so what would be your advice, Ray, to maximize or optimize that opportunity today to make a change in their life and really start something great with their super patch business?
Well, the thing I would say, Bill, is like I've been saying, It's the information that does it for us. That's the key. We got to get people in front of the information. And how are we going to get them in front of the information? I mean, look, I can't script anybody. I'm not a scripted guy myself, but some of you, I would say this, some of you on this call here today, we all have a chicken list. We're going to write their name down, but we're never going to call them, right? I want to encourage you to do that. Hey, let's do it today. If it's somebody you know by first name basis and they're successful in your community, if it's an uncomfortable call for you to make, admit it. It is an uncomfortable call. You can't believe how many times I've called very successful people and said, look, I want you to know up front, this is kind of an uncomfortable call for me to make, but I want you to know you're well respected in the community. You have a very successful business, but I didn't want to take the chance that you could have some interest in something that I found, and I didn't give you a call. I would be honored if you'd spend some time listening to a 30-minute presentation of what I'm involved in. You're so successful, I'd appreciate what you have to say about it. That's a pretty good invitation. And I've given them a compliment, and it's not easy sometimes when you tell somebody they're respected. I mean, you're being genuine. I've always said, Bill, people only buy your genuineness. They don't buy anything else. So be yourself. If it's an uncomfortable call for you to make, let them know that. Hey, it makes them feel like I really must be somebody, This person's a little bit uncomfortable calling me because I'm such a successful person. But that's the way some of them will think, I promise you. But just get on speed dial. I know you can get one person on the Zoom tonight. I'm sure that you can. Just go for it. Take that list that I just asked you to make and start running through it and start inviting them, and you'll have one or two or three that'll say yes. So journey of 1,000 miles begins one step at a time. And I often used to say to people, we're just professional visitors. That's what we do. We're just looking for people to talk to. There's about 350 million of them here. So let's get our share.
Yep. Well, words of wisdom, you guys. I hope everyone was able to scribble that down. Wow. So, Ray, I heard a couple of things. One of the takeaways in that message was sponsor up, right? Meaning, if you can find people that are as successful or more successful than you, and you sponsor those people, your likelihood of success with your super patch business, it's just obvious and common sense that your odds of being successful go up, right? And
I'm,
so we've
I'm,
seen a lot of people sponsor up and have success. Ray, you probably got some examples of people sponsoring up and having success.
well, I do, Bill. I'm glad you brought that up. I've often said this. Please don't anybody be offended by what I'm about to say, because I don't mean any disrespect to anybody. But what happens is when it's called low hanging fruit, and that's where we should all start, right? I tell people generally start with your family. You need to practice. They're probably not going to get in, but talk to family members. But I find that's a little different here at Super Patch. Lots of family members get involved. But we'll all get the low hanging fruit when we come in. And what do? They do the same thing. Well, after about the, third or fourth level, you've got people then. Hold on, Bill, just a moment.
All good, Ray. Take your time.
Get some water here. Anyway, it works its way down. You see what I'm saying? It works its way down to where you've got people that really can't even afford to buy the patches once after about 2 or 3 levels, when we all start getting the low hanging fruit. So it's best to start and sponsor up if you can. Call the people that you know that are successful. They've got credit cards that work. They've got energy. They're people that inspire you. Those are the ones to call first. You can build a business much faster because, number one, everybody respects them, Bill. And when they get involved, the people that know them say, gee, Bill's involved in this, must be something here. I mean, they'll bring a lot of people and bring them in a hurry.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And so, everybody listen, I want you to just think about this for a minute. Let's do this. Think right now, who do you know? Who's the busiest person you know? And then I want you to ask the question, who do I know that gets the most done every day? It's the busiest people that you know. they're the ones getting things done. So don't assume that because someone is busy, they're not going to be interested in your super patch business, because those busy people, they're out and getting the stuff done. And we got some examples right here in our own organization where we've got some really busy people with multi careers, multi businesses running, and they still find time to spin the plates in super patch and have lots of success here. And we're just getting started. So I love sponsor up. I love don't be afraid to contact. The other thing, Ray, I would say to everyone on here is one of the things that goes perfectly in alignment with your boxes training is what Cynthia and I have taught on for years, and it's just called rate of exposure. And rate of exposure, people think cash is king, but if you want cash, you got to increase your rate of exposure, because if you have a really, really good month at Super Patch or you have a bad month at Super Patch, you can always, always, always go back and take they say hindsight's 2020. You can go back and look in that 2020 mirror, and you can see if you had a really good month, your rate of exposure. So this is the people you're talking to, your rate of exposure plus your team's rate of exposure equals your rate of success. So if you have a really good month, you'll see your rate of exposure was high, your team's rate of exposure was high, and the team had a lot of success that month. If you had a bad month, right, you can always look back in that same exact 2020 mirror, and you can see that your rate of exposure was low, your team's rate of exposure was low, and the results showed. And it boils down to rate of exposure, and that is works perfectly in alignment with your boxes training, Ray, and that is just holding yourself accountable. You don't have a better accountability partner than yourself, because you've got to look in the mirror at some point and you got to say, it's up to me. If it's going to be, I'm going to make it happen. And literally everyone on here is just that one decision away from, being tired of being tired and just deciding I'm going to make it different. Things just don't change on their own. I talk about this sometimes too. We've had this discussion as a family. If we want things to happen, they don't just happen. Sometimes we have to force things to happen. And I'll just give you some examples of what I mean by forcing things to happen. And then Ray, I'll let you piggyback a little bit on this. But one of the things that I'm talking about when I say you got to force things to happen is like with the follow up. After you've shared some information with somebody, or they've not gotten started, or they've not gotten to a super Zoom, that doesn't mean anything, you guys. You got to force it. You got to invite them again and invite them again and invite them again. I'll invite someone to a super Zoom. Literally, if they don't tell me, hey, Bill, don't ever invite me to a super Zoom ever again, or I'll never talk to you again. I'm not interested. I don't want to get on a super Zoom. Don't ever mention it again. Until they say something like that, which never happens, I'm going to keep inviting them. I'm just going to keep inviting them. You
For
guys,
sure.
the fortune is in the follow up. So
Well,
I'll let you piggyback that, Ray.
yeah. Well, you're right. I'm glad you said that. I mean, that's been an old adage for a long time. The fortune is in the follow up, but I am reminded it's a great little, on these Zooms, use that little invite button. I mean, when this Zoom starts, there's right in the bottom left corner, there's a little invite. Send that invite to people that you have already invited and those that you forgot to invite. Just send it out to as many people as you can get to your groups that we can see who's on there. So send it to them. Send it to them.
Love it. That's a great tip right there. I think most of us don't use that invite button on the Zooms, do we? So that's look at you go, Mr. Techie.
Yeah, well, I just happened to see it one day, and I learned by mistake. I hit on it, thought, "What's this?" And go, "Wow, I can just text this to people that aren't on here," and I find that it works pretty good. But most of the time, or a lot of times, I should say, I'll text it to somebody, and next thing I know, I'll see their name appear on the Zoom, so they're there.
Yep.
Anyway, I encourage you all to use that. And fortune is in the follow up for sure. But you know what? This all sounds like work, what we've talked about today. But let me tell you what, it's real rewarding. When you do all you can do, you just feel better about yourself. You just do. You're more confident. It'll be easier for you to invite the next person, easier for you to talk to the next person. I promise you, you'll get better and better. The more you do, the better you get at this. And before you know it, you're going to be a real pro in the network marketing business, and you'll have a lot of self confidence. It's just something that it just comes with the territory. When you're accountable to yourself, just remember what I said. You know,
No doubt about it, Ray.
doing less than we can do will set us up. It'll damage us psychologically. I promise you it will. I don't care if it's, some of you heard me say it. Guys, when we put things off in our yard, we know it needs to be mowed, and we keep driving by it and driving by it. Finally, we go get the lawnmower out and we mow it. Now we can smell that nice, clean, cut grass. The yard looks beautiful. We're proud to live there. We just feel better about ourselves. That's just the way life works. If you're accountable to yourself and you're going to build this thing, then go for it. I promise you, you'll get better and better and better, and you'll feel better about yourself, and your spouse will probably enjoy spending more time around you.
I love that, Ray. Well, look, guys, you're one decision away from living the life of your dreams. And I would say this, everybody, if I proposed to you, if I said, hey, Ray, I understand that you've worked hard in your career. You've had a long career, and not you specifically, Ray. I'm just using your name as an example, but you worked really hard. You've been honorable. You've supported your family. But what if I told you, Ray? What if I said, Ray, I've got an opportunity where you can shovel poop in 100-degree weather for 12 months straight, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 12 months. But at the end of the 12 months, you'll never have to worry about paying a bill again. You'll never have to worry about taking your family on vacation because you'll be able to pick them up and go whenever you want, as much as you want, and live the life of your dreams. You never have another financial worry. Would you shovel that poop for 1 year in 100-degree weather, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 1 year to have the rest of your life the way you want to live it on your terms and live your dreams? I think almost most all of us, there might be some exceptions, but most all of us would say, sign me up, I'm in. And network marketing's like that, right, Ray? I mean, you work this business, and then at one point you turn around and you go, oh my gosh, this literally is just a one big paid social life. I get paid to hang out with some really awesome, amazing people, and help other people, and we get paid and live a dream life. And so,
Well, you do, and it's I tell you, the exponential growth of numbers. I can explain to you all day long. I mean, we've all heard 3, 9, 27, 81, 243. I mean, we can just go. But I promise you, you'll never get it until it happens for you, and it will. It'll happen if you do the things that we're suggesting that you do. Those exponential growth of numbers over time, it's beyond control. I mean, all you did was get it started and help a few people, and next thing you know, it gets a life all its own, and those numbers just keep growing.
just love it. Well, Ray, I can't say enough about your training today. I know it's going to change lives. I know people that are on here right now, their lives are going to change because of what they heard today. And Cynthia and I just want you to know how grateful we are to be working with you, to have access to your knowledge and wisdom and all the success you've had. And we heard Jim Rohn through you today, which is amazing because most all of us didn't have the opportunity to be personally mentored by Jim Rohn. That's something pretty special. So, guys, with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Cynthia to wrap us up. But wow, babe, what an amazing day. All right, back to the center of my universe. Here she is.
Priceless, priceless, Ray. Thank you so much for the wisdom, the tips. They are so valuable. And I can say that there isn't a time that we talk that I don't grow and learn more and get more excited about this industry. It's so inspiring to know that you've created this amazing life for you and your family. 40 years, that's a career, you guys. People spend 20, 30, 40 years out in the world working, and most people don't have their first job still. You jump from one to the other, looking for a raise, a better opportunity. Think about landing a uh in an atmosphere, in a landscape like network marketing, like Ray did. Apply yourself and share your heart. Get people in front of what can change their lives forever, and wash, rinse, and repeat enough times, and you'll have what Ray has. People that start earning $1,000 a month in this industry, they ask, what do I need to do to make that 5,000? More of what you just did. Once you crack open that sequence of simplicity and duplication, wash, rinse, and repeat. And I give the example, 1,000 people. If you need to speak to 1,000 people in the next year, but you know that that will resolve in the life that you and your family would thrive living day in and day out for the rest of your life, would you do it? I don't use the shovel poop in 100-degree weather for the next year because I'm out on that one. Therefore, I took the easier route and chose network marketing because we don't have to do any of that around here.
Metaphorical poop, babe.
That's
Metaphorical poop.
I know, but it puts a picture in my head every time, every time. So we have it a little bit easier around here. And when you have incredible mentors like Ray Herron that have been in this industry for this many years, and have had such a great batting average in picking the next one and being first, and he's here with all of his successes, knowledge, and experience. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your family's future? Well, I don't know about you, but there's certain individuals that you should just always bet on. Ray Herron's one of those. So I'm following Ray's lead on that. He gave absolute confirmation to everything that Bill and I saw in Jay, the company, the technology, and what we have to give. That's the big gift, you guys. The the secret here is you help enough people achieve what they want or what they need, and you're going to hit your goals. It's an absolute honor to be in this industry with this company, working with people like Ray and all of you. Thank you, Ray, so much for your time, for your expertise, for your professionalism, for your passion for the industry. It won't be the last time you guys are going to hear from Ray a lot. It's been a real pleasure working together today for this training for everybody. And I know that everybody's gotten priceless information from it. You guys, we've got a overview coming up. Apply what Ray has given you here today. Go out, pick up your phone, get on a Zoom, rally the troops. Something huge is happening. It can benefit every life on this planet. And when you have an answer and a solution of that magnitude, and you're being invited to the table and able to participate in the company's growth and profit share, you've got a can't win as long as you do your part and get people in front of this life-changing information. So start inviting to tonight's overview. Take Ray's tip even when you're on, if you forgot somebody, it's not too late. Invite them. It creates urgency. You got to get on right now. You missed the first 3 minutes, but it's not too late. What's happening here may never happen again. Catch it, see it, and we'll get on the phone right afterwards. That's it. And so, Ray, again, thank you so much. And I want to thank your beautiful wife, Cheryl, too, because every time that you're giving of your knowledge and training, I know that she's also giving to everybody as well. Ray, thank
Well,
you.
thank you all so very much. Thank you, Bill and Cynthia. You guys are great. Everybody on this call, thank you again for spending some time with us. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you on the Zoom tonight.
Adios, amigos. See you later.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.